So the easiest way to do this question is to use the answer choices. So I'll start with this figure. So Marie is going to use part of her backyard using part of the house. So it's 50 feet long. She doesn't have to use the whole thing. So it could be like this and put a fence. And our goal is to maximize the area. So for the three sides of this rectangular fence, she has 80 feet of fencing. So I'll just start with the answer, the first choice, which is if this is 10 feet, so something like that. Again, not drawn to scale. So if we take out 10 feet from the fence, we have left with 70. So each one would be 35, 35. In this case, the area would be 350 square feet. So we can just do this computation for all the answer choices. That's one approach. And then I'll go over the algebraic method. A little bit more work, but I think it's important to know, considering that they're testing this concept. So if this is 20 feet, since we have only fencing on the three sides, if I take out 20, I'm left with 60. So then I split that. In this case, the area would be 600 square feet, length times width. So we're already higher than A, so we know A is incorrect. C is 25, so if this is 25 feet, then the other two sides would be 80 minus 25 is 55, so 27.5, 27.5. You can either do this multiplication. Let me see if I do it this way. So that becomes 100, so 2750 over 4. 3, is it right? 4 times 6 is 24. 3 is 4 times 8 is 32. 3 left, so something like that, 687. Again, we just need approximate because we're comparing them. And then if it's 40, then the other two sides would be 20 feet, 20 feet. Now here the area is 800. So we don't need to worry about this exact calculation because we already exceed that. And then finally, if it's 50, then we have to split 30 feet between the others two. And then we'll get, in this case, area of 750 square feet. So you'll see 800 is the largest area, and that corresponds to 40 feet length. So the answer is D. Now, if you wanted to do it algebraically, which is work, but I think the important part is understanding the concept, because it's possible that they test this idea in a different way. So if we call that length L here and the width is WW, our perimeter, which is 80 feet, is L plus 2W. That's the constraint. And then the area is length times width, which is what we need to maximize. So what I'm going to do is to replace W in terms of L. So that would be 80 minus L over 2. Because my goal is to find L. I mean, I guess it might be easier algebra if you do it in terms of L. I'm not sure, but since our goal is to get L, I'll stick with that. So that would be 40 minus L over 2. So that's a quadratic function. So we really just have to maximize this. And you'll see, because the coefficient of L squared term is negative, this is going to be a downward opening parabola. And it's going to probably look something like that. We're looking for the x-coordinate of the vertex. And for a general quadratic, and again, this is important for the GMAT, if this is a general quadratic, then minus b over 2a is the x-coordinate of the vertex, this term here. And that's what we need to find, because that would give me the L value that maximizes the area. So in this case, b is 40 and a is minus half. So that becomes a minus 40 over 2 times minus half, and that becomes plus 40. So length that will maximize the area is 40. And then, of course, once we get L, we know the other two are going to be 20 and 20. And that's where the 40 comes from. The general rule, meaning if we had, say, a fixed amount of fence and we were enclosing a four-sided, because note here, we're only enclosing 3 sides. If you had to do a four-sided figure, that will be the case when you have a square. And maybe you want to do that result, meaning if I give you a given length of fencing wire, and you wanted to create a rectangular shape that will give you the maximum area, you'll find that that happens when it's a square and the length of each side is p over 4. So here it was p over 2, where p was this total length that was given for just the 3 sides. So that's the difference here. But obviously, you could do this question by plugging in the answer choices, but what I discussed related to it, I have a feeling that's going to be important for the GMAT. So to summarize, the answer is D.